5 terrifying true high school horror stories. Story 1. The Stalker's Obsession. Picture this, it's 2007, and MySpace is still a thing. Our first victim, let's call her Sarah, gets a weird message from a guy she barely knows. He claims she tutored him in math, but here's the kicker, Sarah hates math and never tutored anyone. Red flag city, right? This guy, we'll name him Brian, starts showing up everywhere. At her locker, during lunch, at her performances. At first, Sarah's flattered. They're both outsiders, she's into punk, he's emo. They bond over My Chemical Romance. Sounds harmless, yeah? Wrong. Brian's behavior goes from 0 to psycho faster than you can say. Pop quiz. He's waiting for her between every class, following her around like a lost puppy with rabies. Sarah starts eating lunch off campus just to escape. But Brian won't take a hint. He gets creepy, saying nasty things and telling Sarah he wishes his girlfriend was her. At homecoming, he ditches his date to corner Sarah. Thank goodness for her quick-thinking friends who come to the rescue. Just when Sarah thinks it can't get worse, Brian vanishes. Relief turns to horror when she learns the truth from her dad, who happens to be the principal. Brian had strapped fireworks to a cat and blown it up for kicks. He ended up in juvie and a psych ward. Talk about dodging a bullet. Sarah's story reminds us to trust our gut when something feels off. Story 2. The Toxic Ex. Next up, we've got a classic tale of obsession gone wild. Meet Emily, a freshman who falls for a guy named Alex. She sees a kindred spirit in him, both outcasts in their own way. But Alex is bad news from the start. He plays hot and cold, chasing other girls while keeping Emily on the hook. After 2 years of this emotional roller coaster, Alex's true colors come out in full force. He pulls disappearing acts for days, then blows up at Emily when she worries. He calls her names, swears at her, and messes with her head. When she tries to break it off, he threatens to off himself. Classic manipulator move. Even after Emily finally cuts ties, Alex won't let go. He shows up at her house at all hours, stalks her at work, and leaves creepy gifts on her doorstep. It gets so bad that Emily needs a restraining order to keep him away. This story's a wake-up call, folks. If someone is treating you like garbage, it's not love, it's abuse. Don't let anyone manipulate you into staying in a toxic situation. Story 3. The Bathroom Nightmare. Our third tale takes place in the last place you'd expect, the school bathroom. Lisa, a shy freshman, always uses the restroom when it's empty. Smart move, usually. But not this time. One day, she hears someone come in. A chill runs down her spine as a male voice whispers her name. The creep starts banging on the stalls, getting closer and closer to hers. Panicking, Lisa makes a break for it. But the guy catches her, slamming her to the floor. It's Kevin, a senior football player with a grudge against Lisa's mom, who's a lawyer. Kevin whips out a knife, but Lisa's not going down without a fight. She kicks, screams, and punches. Luckily, 2 girls walk in, giving Lisa a chance to bolt. She runs through the hallway, not realizing she's been stabbed until she collapses in front of her brother. Lisa ends up in a coma for a month, but she survives. This story is a grim reminder that danger can lurk anywhere, even in places we think are safe. Story 4. The Camping Trip from Hell. Our fourth tale is all about trusting your instincts. Meet Rachel, who gets a weird invite from an old school acquaintance, Bob. He wants her to go camping in some super secluded spot with him and his buddy. Something feels off to Rachel, so she says no. Smart move, because months later Bob's on the news for murder. Turns out, he killed his work partner and stole a bunch of cash from an armored van. But here's the real kicker. When Bob's case goes to trial, his journal comes out as evidence. In it, he wrote about his plan to become a professional hitman. And that camping trip? It was all a setup to lure Rachel out so Bob and his friend could practice killing someone. Talk about a close call. Rachel's gut feeling probably saved her life. Remember, folks, if something feels wrong, it probably is. Story 5. The Demon in the Classroom. Our last story takes us into the realm of the supernatural. Jake's a sophomore when he notices a new kid in class. This guy, let's call him Damien, seems like your typical bad boy, piercings, leather jacket, the works. Jake and Damien start dating, and at first, it's all good. But then things get weird. Damien starts talking about being possessed by a demon. He cuts himself, stares off into space, and acts like he's not all there. One night, Jake wakes up to Damien screaming bloody murder. He's thrashing around, eyes rolled back in his head. Jake thinks it's a seizure at first, but then Damien looks right at him with the most hate-filled expression Jake's ever seen. Damien starts ranting about demons and coming at Jake with a knife. Jake manages to escape through a window, but he's left with nightmares and a fear of ever seeing Damien again. Years later, Jake hears that Damien's living on the streets, addicted to meth. It's a sad ending to a terrifying story, and a reminder that sometimes, the scariest demons are the ones inside our own heads. So there you have it, 5 tales that'll make you think twice about those carefree high school days. That's all for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own creepy school stories in the comments.